I'm Troy Kirby with a quick look at the 2022 Washington State legislative session. The House Finance Committee heard public testimony on Substitute House Bill 1880, which would create housing benefit districts.
Our cities have made significant strides in planning for affordable housing, and they have been asking us for options and flexible tools to help address this shortage. This bill creates a somewhat familiar structure for housing as the transportation benefit districts, which some of our cities have adopted to provide for roads.
At this point, it is well established that we have a statewide housing crisis, and in particular, a lack of homes affordable for those at the lowest income levels. To put some numbers on that, one study estimated that Washington needs an additional 181,000 homes that are affordable for low-income families. Washington voters recognize this crisis. According to a recent Sightline poll, housing and homelessness are the top two issues for likely voters statewide. And 2/3 of voters agree that the problem is too big for cities to tackle alone.
In the last testimony I mentioned about the salesman's foot in the door, and in this case I'll quote the Monty Python Life of Brian thing where they're trying to blow up the fat man. They go, "It's one tiny piece of chocolate. It's wafer thin." Where I bristle out on this is the arguments that I've heard put forward and saying, "Well, you're already taxed on this anyways." Boy, as a taxpayer, I tell you, I sure know about it too. There's no tax in this state that ever goes away.
Everett is a diverse and mixed income city with about half of our rental households and a third of our owner households currently housing cost burdened. As the metropolitan city within Snohomish County, Everett is tasked with planning for significant growth, some of that associated with the pending extension of the regional light rail spine into our city with 4 new stations coming online in the next 15 years, an excitement and a challenge. Our housing targets under the Growth Management Act and regional policies require us to plan for and accommodate 70,000 new residents in the coming 20 years, which represents new construction of about 1,300 housing units a year.
This is a thoughtful and strategic way of concurrently tackling multiple challenges that our region faces today, while creating a healthy, equitable, and resilient communities, and at the same time replicating proven models that I would like to emphasize.
I lived in Japan for 13 years, half of that time in a small city of 65,000 and half of that time in the 6th largest city of Kobe, Japan, a city of about 1.5 million. And in both of those cities, Japan has a very mature light rail system. And in both of those cities, small and large, what you see around the light rail stations within the mile, even a little larger walkshed, is very robust development of commercial spaces, of housing, of business offices. It really becomes sort of the center from which all of the spokes of the community drive.
We won't get the full benefit of our transit investments without this type of intentional planning for housing. We will not get affordable housing without flexible tools like this. The Housing Benefits District concept has incorporated significant stakeholder feedback over the last year, and it's a stronger bill because of it, with clear affordability targets and requirements for any discounted land. This is difficult work, and this bill creates a new tool to make affordable housing in these station areas more possible and at a denser scale.
Thank you for watching the 2022 Washington State legislative session.